I have to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. For the first time in franchise history, this team has overcame a 3-1 deficit in the NBA playoffs in the first round against the Boston Celtics out of all teams. Going into this series, the 76ers were the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. On the other hand, the Boston Celtics were the number 2 seed. They were an elite contender all year long, with and without Jason Tatum. For the first half of the regular season, Jaylen Brown's being placed in the MVP conversation with how well this team was playing. On most nights, he was just putting the team on his back, averaging 30 points a game. He even have games he went out there and he'll put up 40 points. Jaylen Brown was an elite and special player throughout the regular season. He did have some off nights, but for the most part, he was phenomenal. Then they get back Jason Tatum on the back half of the regular season. And it pushed his offense to another level and the same defensively. They look like the Boston Celtics that won the NBA Finals a few years ago against the Dallas Mavericks. So many analysts had the Boston Celtics getting back to the NBA Finals, or at least getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that wasn't the case here. And to begin this series, the Celtics, they were fully healthy. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Kata at the center position. They were up 3-1 for a reason. Then you look at the 76ers here. It's just a weird regular season for this team. Tyrese Maxey has a finger injury, but for the most part, their most consistent player, their most available player, him and VJ Edgecombe in the backcourt. For the first month of the regular season, that was an elite pairing. It was fun to see him and VJ play off of each other. Paul George, he gets into a groove. He gets suspended for 25 games. And this looks like one of the worst contracts in the NBA at that point in time, considering how bad he played the year before in the regular season. He could not finish out the regular season. He was dealing with a knee injury. Then you have Joel Embiid. When he's fully healthy, he's a top 5 player in the game. The problem with Joel Embiid, he's always injured. But we all know when he's fully healthy, he is hell on the court. And right before this series started, a report comes out with ESPN and the same with CBS. Joel Embiid would not be available for the first couple of games. He had to have appendix surgery. So it's one of those situations. Here we go again. Joel Embiid has a knee injury. He tries to play through it. It's just too much. He had the face situation a few years ago. A back injury, a foot injury. He can't play. And it seems like it's textbook at that point in time. When this team went down 3-1, they could have easily given up. They could have given up in the regular season, but they never did. And this is where I credit Nick Nurse a lot here. He is a tremendous head coach. It's the reason why he won a championship many years ago with the Toronto Raptors. That's the same team that beat the Golden State Warriors that was being led by Kawhi Leonard. But his defensive adjustments are phenomenal, and the same with his offensive adjustments here. But the one thing, if you're a 76ers fan, you can agree with me on this. If this team is fully healthy, they match up well with anyone in the Eastern Conference. This is a well put together team. It's just the health here and the suspensions with Paul George. But in game 1, the Sixers lost 123-91. They shot 17% from 3, 39% from the field. And Nick Nurse comes out after the game ends. He says, you know what? We'll be fine. I failed them on a couple of fronts here. We'll make some adjustments. We'll be better. And this is what a lot of coaches say when they lose game 1. Joe Mazzulla would have said something very similar here if the Celtics would have lost game 1. But Nick Nurse really meant this. And game 2, they bounced back. The 76ers get a game here on the road, 111-97. And this game right here was a tipping point for the 76ers. If they lose back-to-back games, they're going home here in either 4 or 5 games. I truly believe that. And I'm happy for 76er fans. I said this a couple of days ago. I thought that the Boston Celtics had a great chance of winning at home. It's game 7. It's hard as hell to win in the TD Garden. And when you look at the track record here with the 76ers against the Celtics, the last few years in the NBA playoffs, it hasn't been pretty. The Celtics have given them a lot of problems. But the biggest thing here in game 2, the Celtics shot 26% from 3. They had 53-point attempts. Paul George plays so well in this game, offensively and defensively. He looked like how he looked when he played with the OKC Thunder. He only had 19 points, but he was so efficient. He was 7 of 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, and he had 6 free throw attempts. But the defense that he played on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, those are costly turnovers in the third quarter. He made their life hell on the perimeter. And that's why you bring in Paul George. Let's not forget, when they signed him to this crazy contract, they didn't sign Paul George to be the number 2. They signed him to be the number 3, number 4 offensive player. So offensively, they don't need him to put up 20, 25 shots a game. Save that energy for defense. He could play off of VJ Edgecombe, and the same with Tyrese Maxey. And they're just waiting for Joel Embiid to come back here. Still wasn't available to play. And game 3 was a tough loss here for the 76ers. It was a tough one. You lost this one 108-100. Tyrese Maxey's going out there. He's hitting his jump shots. He's getting to the rim. But you could tell they missed Joel Embiid. You still had a very good defensive performance by Paul George. And a solid offensive performance as well. And the same with Kelly Oubre. It just wasn't enough against the Celtics team. They got into a rhythm. They shot 45% from 3. And they had 53 3-point attempts. And the ball movement was phenomenal. In game 4, once again, it's textbook here with the Boston Celtics. You lose this game 128-96. Joel Embiid comes back in this game. You could tell that he hasn't played in a very long time. He was late on so many defensive rotations. He did have 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. He liked the old Joel Embiid on the offensive end, but defensively, he was terrible. This was a great 3-point shooting night by the Boston Celtics. And another solid defensive effort by Paul George and Kelly Oubre. It just wasn't good enough. When your center is stuck in motion and they keep going at him and they're setting different screens, and now you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown shooting threes, and the same with Peyton Pritchard, it's only so much that you can do. But this was a great defensive adjustment by Nick Nurse. In game 5, you go out there, you guard the 3-point line. And now you see Joel Embiid. He's back to his old self. Defensively and the same offensively. He had 33 points in game 5. Did not make a 3, but he had 10 free throw attempts, 8 assists. He's taking the pressure off of Tyrese Maxey, and the same with VJ. He's setting those hard screens. He's getting these players into foul trouble. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kata. He's tiring out the defense here. Early on in this series, besides game 2, the 76ers, they could not catch a break with the Boston Celtics. When the Celtics would go on the run, they did not have that interior force down low. You get a foul, get to the free throw line. That's a break in the action. You're disrupting the offense here with the Boston Celtics, which is basically space out, run and gun. This has been the Celtics offense since Joe Mazzulla has been the head coach. But you slowed them down with your transition defense, and you tired them out on the offensive end. With Joel Embiid, you slow the game down. But this was a great game 5 with Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey had 25 points. The defense was so phenomenal in game 5. The Celtics only had 11 points in the fourth quarter. They missed 16 straight field goals. They were 13% in the fourth quarter. 3 of 22 from 3, 28%. That's phenomenal defense. And I credit majority of that defense to Paul George and Kelly Oubre on the perimeter. Now, Derek White did not have a good series. He forgot how to shoot. But let's not take away the credit here with the 76ers. In game 6, another great game here for Tyrese Maxey, VJ, and Paul George. Joel Embiid, on the other hand, he did have 19 points, 6 of 18 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, but he had 10 rebounds and 8 assists. It's not always about the points here. He's getting those guys into foul trouble. And that's all that you can ask for out of Joel Embiid. Just be yourself. But the way that he was able to have those passing plays out of the post was just tremendous. And VJ had some weird moments in this series on the offensive end. I will say this about VJ. I'm a big VJ fan. The one question about him coming out of college, could a 3-point shooting develop over time? As a rookie, solid 3-point shooter. But his defense was also very good in this series. But Tyrese Maxey, when Joel Embiid's not able to go out there and put up 25 or 30 points, here comes Tyrese. 30 points in game 7, 30 points in game 6. And you win this game in game 6, 106-93. You completely destroy the Boston Celtics. And you have Sixer fans saying Boston sucks. We always wanted Boston. They were saying that the last game, right before the playoffs started. They're saying we want Boston. 76er fans are sick and tired of the Boston Celtics going out there and bullying them around. But game 6 was also a tipping point. It was very reminiscent of what happened in game 2. But this time around, you have Joel Embiid. If you're able to win this game with Joel Embiid not shooting well from the field, that says a lot about what can happen moving forward with the 76ers. Because we haven't been in this situation in a very long time. If you paid attention to the NBA, those last 76er teams, they needed Joel Embiid to go out there and to be the guy. You now have a team. You don't need Joel to score 30 points in every single game in the postseason. You don't need him to go out there and play 35 to 40 minutes. You can have him just play 25 to 30 minutes if he needs a rest. You have Tyrese, VJ, now Paul George, and the same with Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes coming off the bench. But Game 7 was tremendous all around. This was the most important win in Joel Embiid's career. This is not his best game because I've seen Joel Embiid go out there and just have some crazy games and just go out there and just stuff the stat sheet. But he had 34 points. Constantly getting to the free throw line, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He had the 1 block on Kata. Paul George only had 13 points, but he's hitting timely threes in the fourth quarter. VJ had 23 points. And I mentioned Tyrese Maxey having his 30 points. And he had 11 assists. And it is important to note, Jason Tatum was not available to play in Game 7. But you cannot use that as your main excuse if you are a Celtics fan. The 76ers, they did not have their best player for the first 3 games of this series. They could have easily went down 3-0. But this is why every game matters in the postseason. And this is why you watch the NBA, because at times it can be unpredictable. This team matches up well with anyone in the Eastern Conference. They will face the New York Knicks in round 2. It starts on Monday. That Knicks team, they're very strong on paper, but they've also had some moments that'll make you scratch your head and say, okay, there's some weaknesses here. OG is a very good defensive player. The same with Mikal Bridges at the wing position. They're going to match up with Kelly Oubre and Paul George. Down low, Karl-Anthony Towns is not a good defender. So when he matches up against Joel Embiid, that's going to be very interesting. And we've seen Karl-Anthony Towns take a step back this year in the regular season and the same in the postseason. They're going to need to go out there and get Joel Embiid out of the paint. He has to go out there and try to take over in certain aspects of this series. Then you have Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson offensively, one of the best guards in basketball. Defensively, he's going to get cooked in this series if they don't run a lot of zone. Because Tyrese Maxey one-on-one with Jalen Brunson is going to be tremendous. And the same with VJ Edgecombe, the way that he can just get to the rack and put a lot of pressure on the basket. And if you run a lot of zone defense, Joel Embiid can pass through it. And the same with Tyrese Maxey. I just love to see the development with Tyrese. You may think that he's a score-first guard. He can pick apart your defense with his passing ability. And the pick and roll with him and Joel Embiid is tremendous. Then you have Paul George cutting on the back end, getting to the rim. The same with VJ Edgecombe. It's just a very good offensive team right now with the 76ers being led by Nick Nurse. But I'm happy for Sixer fans. And I'm happy to say that I was wrong. And I should have fully respected this team a couple of days ago. And I don't want to just make 2 separate videos here, one about the Celtics and one about the 76ers. I'll just speak on the Celtics here. You'll be fine. For a majority of the season, you miss your second best, maybe best player in Jason Tatum. You go out there and you regroup around that core. You know that you can win a championship with those 2 best players. You'll be fine. Losing a 3-1 lead does suck. But it's no shame in losing to the 76ers. Should they have went out there and closed out this series? By far, they should have. But you shot a lot of threes. You live by the 3, you die by the 3. That's the Celtics way. And that's mostly on Joe Mazzulla than anyone else. And Derek White, they may trade him off this team next year because how bad he's been offensively, not just this postseason, but also in the regular season. Part of that because he was the number 2 scoring option alongside Jaylen Brown. He's more so of a number 3, number 4 type of offensive player. He's a complimentary guard, but he's still a great defensive player. I hate the notion if a player has one bad series, he's terrible, move on from him. Derek White is still a very good basketball player. But if this 76ers team can stay fully healthy, they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They could probably get to the NBA Finals if you're just being honest here. They also match up very well with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That Cavaliers team, they don't play a lot of defense. This was a Celtics team. They played very good defense in the regular season. We're a very good 3-point shooting team. And part of it is this too. Let's just say the 76ers match up Well, they will match up with the Knicks if they get past the second round, if they match up with the Cavaliers, the Pistons, or even the Raptors. All of those teams, exception of the Pistons, they struggle defensively. And with the Pistons, Jalen Duren has been terrible in the front court against the Orlando Magic. And that offense is being carried by Cade Cunningham. They would tire out Cade Cunningham, they would trap him, and they would force the basketball out of his hands. All the 76ers have to do is stay healthy. But this could possibly be the year for the 76ers. But as it stands right now, the process is damn near complete. You beat this Celtics team. You get to go out there and exercise that demon. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the 76ers? And do you view this as being their year if they can get out of the Eastern Conference? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys to stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless.